Hey guys, Chris here. Welcome back to Seabriggs Gaming. Today we're going to be doing something a little different. Today we are going to be playing a game called Tron Identity. This is another one of those games that I've been wanting to play on this channel for a while now. And I'm very excited. Sorry, just doing a couple things real quick. Alright, everything should be all set up. Game should be on screen now. Already, going right into it, the music is so good. So, new game. Yes, overwrite my existing progress. Oh, I'm, really excited to share this game with you guys. I love the Tron franchise. I love anything that has to do with it. Like, the original Tron and Tron Legacy are two of my favorite movies. So when they announced this, I was so excited. Music's so good. I'm just gonna skip the opening credits. Welcome to the grid program. To progress the story, press the next button. You can read at your own pace or progress automatically by pressing the autoplay toggle. So, unlike every other Tron game ever, this is just it's a visual novel. It actually might be the only Tron game I can think of that does not at any point have a light cycle section at all. So right off the bat, that's an interesting change. But I think it did really well with what they did here. If you missed something, there's a chat log on the pause menu. I believe I've said this before in my Neo the World Ends With You streams. I feel like every game should have a chat log like that. Text speed and scale can be adjusted for your comfort in settings. Are you ready to begin program? Heck Yes. Actually, I want to... I've never pressed no on this before. What happens if I say no? We so very rarely are. Initializing. Okay, so it just throws you into it either way. It's a cold night in the city. Nothing new there. You pull your coat tighter. Feel the heat of its glow, a small comfort against the brittle rain. Although across the park stands the repository, a grand building. It stands sentinel among all surrounding it. This is architecture as power play, a statement made in light and stone. It's also where you'll be working tonight. So I do kind of want to take this opportunity before we get too far into it to go into the codex and just look through, because I had already unlocked a lot of this stuff, unfortunately. The Ark server is vast, with hundreds of cycles of history, and hundreds of thousands of citizens. Tonight, you have a single function: to investigate an explosion within the core repository. Located in the Vertical Slice District, this is a supposedly public and safe location. In reality, you know that Core's control is more insidious than most imagine. This is a political territory, and the air is heavy with demonstrations of power and influence. You are an interloper, an independent program entering a space over which you have no control. Imposing building. Core is, for the most part, a pragmatic ruling elite. They allow the population, a degree of comfort and freedom in exchange for protection and the rule of law. So it's a social contract, because that's how that works, is social contracts are you give up some amount of freedom, and in exchange, the government maintains order. That's literally a social contract. Like, that's basics of how government works. There is only one thing the core fears: information. Knowledge of the users, innovation of new code and new praxis, and even programs themselves are looked upon with caution by the core. In its search for full societal harmony, anything that poses a threat is placed in the repository, a secure place for storing secrets and ideas too dangerous to be out in public. The smoke cloud billowing from the repository tonight implies security may not be quite as strong as it once was, and at the very least, someone on the outside might have an explosive interest in its contents. You step forward, taking in the data trees that flank your path. We'll get to the data trees later. I just wanted to show you guys the ones about core and about the repository, because those I felt are extremely important bits of information, like very basic fundamental knowledge you need to have going into this. Suddenly, the screech of tires against asphalt to your left, the rhythmic pulse of a light signal at full speed. You turn, seeing cold blue light racing towards you. Hold your ground or dive out of its way. I think that the vibe I'm getting from this protagonist here, the vibe I always get from him is like kind of stone cold badass, like he feels like, or at least the way I want to play him, at least for this run through, is I want to be the one like, I'm gonna hold my ground, traffic yields to me. You hold out your hand. Stop. The cycle doesn't slow. In fact, you could swear it accelerates. Defiant. It blasts past on your left. 2 more cycles follow it. Yellow. Core. In what world is that yellow? That is like a reddish orange to me. Am I just colorblind? Like, that's very clearly more, like, it's many things. It is not yellow. Whatever the racer did, it was bad enough to get 2 enforcers on their tail. Peacekeepers. That was a polite word. You operate in a less polite world. You push forward, more gingerly now. The park has fallen silent again. Good. At the entrance to the repository stands a slab of a security program. His armor is scratched and scuffed, as is his face. A cruel smirk is attempting to break through his clenched jaw. Bit of trouble on the road there, Chief? Nothing I can't handle. You know, I'm playing it cool here. I'm being like stone cold, like badass guy. Nothing I can't handle. Our character's name's Query, by the way. He laughs. Next time, look both ways. You're not gonna win a fair fight with a speeding light cycle. The laughing stops and is replaced by a stern frown. Can I help you? Feel free to start. You know, I've already kind of established that I'm playing kind of sassy here. Another snort of snide laughter. I'm gonna need some credentials. You flash your badge. 4 squares arranged in a T. It designates you as a member of the Disciples of Tron, a detective. No boss, no assigned tasks, but uncovering truths. A professional observer. My name's Query. Your boss called me in. Something happened here. Something big enough to bring in outside help. The program is taken aback. He steps away from the door and motions you in. You could have sworn you saw the light in his eyes pulse with frustration. This isn't going to be an easy night. We're gonna be good friends, I can tell. Just going forward with the sass, and I know it's gonna bite me square in the rear later. But I'm thinking of doing multiple playthroughs of this today anyway. For you guys. No answer. The program slams the door shut behind you, reactivating its glowing lock. No escape. Definitely not gonna be an easy night. Continue! The lobby of the repository is beautiful. It demonstrates the same power as the exterior. Grish hustles you into the elegant space. You note that it is empty, quiet. Okay, so we're a detective, right? Like I'm playing the detective. I don't know, guys. I don't know. With how I'm playing him, I'm not sure which one. You work here? Ace detective, guys. I've deduced he works here. I do. You look around. Alone? Tonight, mostly. A skeleton crew. One other visitor other than you. Well, I'll try to be a good guest. I think that ship has sailed and sunk already, Query.
Try?
Grish looks tired. It must have been a long night. He growls. Honestly, Grish, me too. I did not get much sleep last night.
It was my call to bring you in. I had this handled. I was about to begin my investigation.
I imagine your boss felt otherwise?
Grish chuckles to himself. Yeah, I imagine he did.
So why are we talking? The chuckle disappears.
Because I want to. This may be his building. But you want in, you gotta go through me. So we'll talk as long as I want to.
You can tell Grish isn't used to dealing with inquiries like yours. He ushers you past the lobby's vacated front desk towards an elevator.
We've moved all non-essential staff to a secure location. This voice is killing my throat. Sorry, guys. I've been ordered to send you up to Prince. He runs this tower, and he's taken the events of the night very personally. You'd think they'd stolen from his own personal collection. Maybe, way he sees it, that's exactly what happened.
There's been a robbery?
That's right. Someone picked tonight to steal something precious from us. Friends will fill you on the details. I don't know them all yet either. I heard the explosion, activated the lockdown, and put things in order. Since then, I've been out here, securing the perimeter and waiting for you to show up. Took you long enough. I guess you were busy holding up traffic. Not successfully. But I respect the effort.
Why did you go outside, Grish?
I needed some ventilation. Figured maybe I'd get lucky and see a perfect escaping.
Well, did you? A head shake.
Nope.
Grish moves to the elevator. A keypad to its side awaits activation. He reaches out his hand to the panel. It hovers, a sharp intake of breath. What? Is there a problem, Grish?
Grish
stands in front of the panel looking at him. Then back to you. He's confused. He catches himself, confusion turning into frustration.
Since the explosion, I've been missing things.
And I need to turn the music down a little bit. It's like blaring in my ears. Much better. Manners? Again, I'm going full on just douchebag query here.
Watch it! I don't know if it's got anything to do with the explosion, but my memory access is failing. There are holes. Your DOT, you said? You can defragment identity disks, can't you? Recover memories?
If I choose to.
Do what needs to be done. Here, take it.
He hands you his disk, grudgingly. Defrag. So this is a huge gameplay mechanic for this, is the defrag minigame. Honestly, it's the most, like, actual gameplay in this. Because, as you can see, most of it is just the text stuff. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I'm not saying that, like, in a negative way. I like visual novels, honestly. Like, I like these, like, mystery visual novels. Match data cards to defrag a disk. Drag the circle card onto its matching neighbor. So you have to match, like, suits and numbers. As well as suits you can match by number. Drag the 3 card to its neighbor. There are 2 legal moves types. Adjacent and 3 packets away. So I can move this here. Or... oh. Actually, no. Scratch that. That's the only legal move I can do. Although I could technically move the 4 over to where it is. Cards cannot cross the top of the disc. No move is final. Undo any play at any time. Stuck? Let the AI make your next move. A limited number of times per puzzle. To complete the puzzle, reduce card count to the target. Pick your own moves from now on. As things become more complex, you will need to make tactical choices. You can create runs of cards or preserve matches to open paths later. Find your own style. Complexity lies added. Good luck, program. Oh. How can I do this? Just... There! Data restored. You hand the disc back. Gresh takes it, replaces it on his back. A slight pulse in his eyes signals the data refresh. Got it. I'm switching to a different voice for him just because that one's was already starting to hurt my throat, and given that I'm doing a couple playthroughs, I would not last doing that voice. Grish gives the slightest of nods. It's the closest you'll be getting to a thank you. He taps the code into the elevator, unlocking it. I've unlocked repeat access rights for you. We'll be able to travel to any location Prince allows. About time. Grish grunts. He's clearly frustrated to have shown this weakness to you. So, honestly, I'm gonna, all cards on the table here, because I had already, played through a few of the different routes of this game, I was debating whether or not I was gonna play it on stream. But I feel like we're already, headed down a path that I have never been on. I feel... I kind of know the directions I want to go a little bit for this route, but I have not done it this way, the way that I'm going to before. And so I have no idea what's going to happen. I'm actually very happy about that. I'm not going to let you do this without me. I don't need friends. They disappoint me. I don't need anybody. I do. I work with a lot of programs, and tonight, someone attacked them. You're taken aback by the reaction. You need my detachment. Jesus, that's a new one. Grish smiles at the presumption. I need you to accept my very kind offer of help. You push forward. He's surprised. I work alone. You'll regret this, program. Grish's eyes flare. I'm sorry. I was gonna do this stay out of my way because it fits more with the route, but I don't have the heart to. I'm going to warn Prinz about you, about your lack of respect for how things work here. Steps into the elevator, slams a fist on the panel, and is whisked off. Moments later, the elevator returns, empty. It's time to visit the man who called you here. Continue. Oh gosh, I wonder how Prinz is gonna react to me. Prinz may consider this an office, but it's more of a shrine. User memorabilia lines the walls. See, that's something that's really fascinating to me about the Tron mythos, is the way that users are held in this, like, divine status. And you can't even really refute it with them, because, like, from their perspective, like, the users did create them and their entire world, so it makes sense, like, that they would consider them to be gods. Whether the users approve of that or not. Because, like, Kevin Flynn very much doesn't a lot of times put himself on the level of a god. At least not in the first movie, for sure. In the second one, it's not explored quite as much. But in the first one, he, like, is very specifically like, no, like, I'm just kind of winging it. And Tron is like, wait, really? I thought you guys always had a plan. So, like, it's a really fascinating thing that they explore. By the window, Grish and Prinz are speaking in hushed tones. You refuse Grish's help. Grish sees you enter and frowns. He leans towards Prinz, says a few more words, and then barges past you for the elevator. Be seeing you, program. Prinz chuckles. I see you've been making friends. Very glad you could join us, Query. You come highly recommended. I do the work. So I've heard. Welcome. Actually, I'll wait till we get a better shot of Prinz to say my thoughts on him. Prinz steps in front of his desk. He registers your confusion at the bright lights on its surface. A little showy, perhaps. I've been told it looks like a shrine. But, much like the users, I enjoy a little theater. You didn't hire me to talk about desks, Prinz. Observant, see? You're already on the case. Prinz smiles another smile. It is a smile calculated in its charm. The kind of self-conscious allusion to kindness that you've only ever seen in those with assured authority. I love Prinz's character design. So, another thing I love about the Tron movies, aside from, like, the concept of, like, every single little program, even in some media, like, just email scripts having their own personalities and everything, and, like, the concept of actually like going into the computer and like interacting with the programs like this. I love the aesthetic. Like, it's so cool. Like, you guys know the meme of like how society wants men to dress versus how men actually want to dress? This is how I would love to dress. Like, I would wear stuff like this if it were socially acceptable too, because it just looks so cool. I love like the like cyberpunk aesthetic of it with like the LED accents and like this darkly lit area. It just, something about it, the aesthetic, just it just is very satisfying to me. You wonder how Grish feels about such subterfuge. Tell me, Query, for whom do you fight? I fight for the users, I fight for the programs, I fight for myself. So, Query's a disciple of Tron. And Tron's the one who really coined the phrase, like, I fight for the users. So it makes sense that his followers would share that sentiment. But on the other hand, if we're going with a-hole Query, which is kind of what I'm doing here, so I fight, each one actually works well. I'm gonna go with I fight for myself. Like, going more with like the enigmatic, like outside observer, I don't need anyone kind of thing that I'm doing, because I want to see where this route goes. Like, I want to see what ending you get if you're just a douchebag to everyone. I fight for myself. Prince smirks. Far less charming than before. Your selfishness annoyed Prince. Well, at least you're honest, I suppose. But be careful. A day may come when you will be measured against the ethics of those above us. Hang on. I have an idea. I'm not sure how it's gonna look, but I'm gonna try it out. There. Again, I'm... Ooh, that actually looks alright so far. Sorry. So, if you see me, like, looking over here... So, the way... Little behind-the-scenes information here. There's a heavy, like, input lag, or, like, latency, or whatever. There's a word for it, but there's, like, a delay with the stream, so it's almost, like, it seems to be, like, a good 30 seconds behind, so when I make a change like that, like, what I did was I just changed the display for my ring light that I have set up to, it has, like, a bunch of different colors and like settings, so I turned it red, hoping to kind of match more of like the aesthetic of this game, but it takes a while because I have to deal with the delay to see how it looks on the stream end of things. So if you see those pauses after I make a change like that, that's why. And I did it earlier when I was pulling the game up to see and verify that the game was on screen. Like, if you see those pauses, that's usually what I'm doing. Or below. What is the program's equivalent of hell? What is Android hell for these guys? That actually is not something that I am familiar with. Like, I like to think, like, I've loved Tron since 2010. Like, ever since I first saw Tron Legacy in theaters, I was hooked. Like, I remember playing with my brother and sister with frisbees, pretending that they were identity discs, throwing them around. And I even on my phone, in addition to why on every stream I talk about the music I have on my phone? I don't know. But another soundtrack that I listen to pretty regularly is the soundtrack that Daft Punk did for Tron Legacy, because it's Daft Punk, who I love, in their work on one of my favorite movies. So of course I listen to, like, Derezzed casually. Prince steps back to the window. Flynn built this world for us, Query. He built us an ark safe from Clue, from his intolerance of our kind. And the cat's out of the bag. We are all ISOs. So yeah, they talked earlier about the Ark server. So this is basically, and they kind of hinted at this in, like, development of the game, that this was going to be the case. This isn't, like, the main grid that you see in Tron Legacy. This is, like, a sort of a backup system created by Kevin Flynn. I don't know the timeline here, because... So, if you've seen the movies, you know that once Clue fully turned against Flynn, it was kind of too late, and the portal ended up closing on him, trapping him within the grid for, like, 10 plus years. So I'm assuming that this grid was created, like, in the lead up to that. Like, my guess is, like, Clue had been acting funny, and, like, Flynn suspected he was going to try something, so he built a backup system. That's how I rationalize it, but please post in the comments, post in the chat, like, your theories on that. And, like, where the timeline works there. We must never forget what we owe. Whose grace we rely upon. He saw the potential of the ISOs, and our value. Your order was created with similar optimism. The disciples of Tron. Independent seekers of truth in the face of tyranny. It's all impressive, I'm sure. You too are part of Flynn's design. Don't forget it. He will return. We owe him everything. I don't think he's coming back, or Flynn is a fairy tale. Again! You know what? I'm trying to think, like, with what I've done so far, like, how my character would respond. I'm gonna say Flynn is a fairy tale, because I have no idea how he responds to that. He might just whip out his disc and kill me right here and now. Flynn is a fairy tale, Prince. A split second of anger crosses Prince's face. Oh no! I'll pretend I didn't hear that program. Better for both of us. I fear that I am increasingly surrounded by a lack of faith. I find your lack of faith disturbing, program. Prince glances at the elevator Grish left through. Grish saw many things in the adjunct war. I think he carries more scars than the one we can see. It has dented his belief. He's not alone in that. He's entitled to his opinion. Just be total contrarian AR. His opinion is tolerated. It's not quite the same thing. My interest in the users goes beyond blind faith. I imagine you've noticed my collection. Can we get to the case, please? Like, I was here to investigate an explosion and a robbery, not to argue religion with the program. Of course, your directness is an asset, but be mindful of the doors it might be closing you. Even the game is telling me to stop. Oh my god, that's when you know it's bad, is when the game is like, hey, stop being such a jerk. Prince's face stiffens. The first time he lets the stress of recent events show on his face. He straightens up, locks eyes with you. Tonight, the unacceptable has occurred. Our repository has been broken into, and our work is in great danger. I'm sure Grish told you about the explosion, our vault. We have been attacked. I don't know for sure who did this, but I have my suspicions. I need to know who's responsible and what they stole from us. What was in the vault? Before we get into who had access, what the hell was stolen? And I need to just turn the volume down a little more. Because it's really good, but it's just a little, it's loud enough where it's a little distracting for me. A good question. I don't know. How do you not know? You're the administrator. We serve at the pleasure of Core, and they move items in and out as they please. Then again, I guess I don't know what all we carry at this store I work at. But then again, I'm not the manager. I'm just a freaking, I want to say cashier with extra steps, but I actually do like other things at my job. If you don't know, I work at Dollar General right now. He looks down. I wish I had a better answer, but for now, I'm as in the dark as you. My building is host to great many treasures, but presumably, tonight someone stole our greatest jewel. He gestures broadly. The programs with the answers are throughout this tower. I'm hoping that an outsider like yourself might be able to find the truth in all of this. I'd start with the crime scene itself or the suspect we already caught. A visiting dignitary, another outsider, was present near the event. Grish's men secured the situation immediately. Excuse me. I ate, like, right before going live, so I am sorry. Keep an eye on Grish. His soul can be quick to judge. He would seem to have formed a bad impression of you. And that could easily be a complication for your investigation. A look crosses Prince's face, something approaching sympathy. You've created temporary accommodations in the library. Give my apologies to Ada when you see her. Not exactly her role to play jailer. So, this is another cool thing about Tron. The attention to detail on these little things. Because if you don't know, Ada, that's a reference to Ada Lovelace, who invented the analytical engine. Or, not invented, but she's largely considered to be like the world's first computer programmer. And there's a bunch of other little things like that too, like if you pay attention, a lot of the programs are named after like either coding languages or innovators in the computer science industry, or like iconic machines. Like it's just, and some of them are pretty obvious, like there's a character in the first movie named Ram. But then there are some that are pretty, where like they had to have done their research. And it's really impressive. I'm gonna start with the vault. Like, I feel like before you interrogate a witness or a suspect, you should go. I feel like the proper procedure would to be go over the crime scene first, find out what the hell was even stolen. No need to tell me, program. The DOT are independent of my authority. I hope that you also remember your oath of non-interference. Literally, the job description of an investigator would be to interfere by catching the culprit. You can't have it both. This is the only thing that kind of bugs me. And I get where they're coming from. Of like, you don't do anything outside of what you need to uncover the truth. But the whole idea of like a private investigator like this, which seems to be what the Disciples of Tron effectively are, is like they're a detective agency basically. The whole idea of that is to get an outsider to like assist. But on the other hand, I do recognize like what it means of like, you don't interfere, you figure out like who did it, and then you leave it to these guys to deal with like actually like doing whatever with him. Whether they de-res him, throw him in the games, which is basically de-resing him, or like lock him up in a cell or whatever, that's up to them. So I get that part. I get both sides of it, basically, is what I'm saying. Come back here when you have anything to tell me, or any questions I can answer. Prince's polite smile disappears. Oh, I have never... Oh my god! You've been... Like, I've disappointed Prince before, but not, like, to the point where he's just straight up says this. You've been somewhat unpleasant company, Query. I'll be keeping an eye on your progress, and if you step out of line, you will be ejected. This is my repository, and you are here at my invitation. Do not forget that. You leave the office. For the users, I think we established that I don't believe in them. So yeah, a lot changes. What happens when if I go and like check on Grish? Because usually I accept his help. Like I have kind of, with Grish, I've been on two complete opposite ends where like I do a few key things that make him like out for blood. And a few things where he's like, yeah, we're like best friends now. but I've never gone like this route before. So I'm flying blind here. Turn the lobby, Grish is busy, he looks up, locks eyes with you. Probably mad as hell.
Don't you have places to be, program? Places where I'm not?
Dang. So he's immediately just like, get away from me. A memory of great energy hangs in the air. The vault, what's left of it at least, is incredible. Hot red light permeates every corner, highlighting the blue cracks and damage of the explosion. The heat of that light is matched only by the cold of the wind blowing through from outside. In the place of the vault interior is the gaping wound of the blast. The light of the city outside is weightless. Slumped in the corner, you can see the only other program present, a guard. An exhausted face looks back at you. Their clothes are more ornate than Grish's. This isn't one of his guard. A Corps Honor guard. What happened? A good question. The guard looks tired, weakened. Likely they took some damage in the explosion. Whatever they were guarding is gone. Grish must have left them here to recover. Notice how throughout this game, this character is only referred to as them. I think that's a pretty neat detail. Good job, Disney. Good representation. You'll love to see it. Best to approach this carefully.
Rank and ID number!
Query said calmly. It's only now that you realize, looking at the guard, how young they are. Their hair and uniform are pretty messed up, but this guard isn't more than a kid. A kid left to guard something destroying this vault over. I'm Query, a DOT. I'm here to help. Okay. Am I in trouble? Everyone's a suspect. Okay. This is going nowhere fast. The guard needs help. Likely this close to the blast, their entire memory is locked out. You kneel down in front of them, gesture towards the identity disc on their back. I'm Query, a DOT. You said that already. I did. If you let me, I can skim your disc. Help you put some of the details together. Maybe start to figure out what happened here. Okay. They understand. You reach over, take their disc. Time to make some connections. Defrag. Also time to drink some water. Stay hydrated. And also, I might need to take a cough drop so that my throat might hold out for this stream, because I've been very congested lately and I've had a very sore throat. And I am sorry, because then you guys have to hear the cough drop in my mouth, but it's better than hearing my freaking the whole time. Blocker errors are temporary cards which take up space. Work around them. Yeah, so each puzzle from here on out will have like a little challenge added in. When the bar is next to a blocker card, it disappears. Or when the bar next to a blocker card is full, it disappears. So you see this little icon right here. If you're lucky, blockers may turn a gap of 2 cards into a gap of 3. If you'd like to skip a defrag puzzle, you can do so from the pause screen. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I have done that, like, to save time. But I'm not gonna do that for this stream. Unless there's one that's taking me, like, really long to the point where I feel like it's not entertaining anymore. Because, you know, I want to show you guys all the content that I can. And that includes these puzzles, because they are pretty fun. Like, they're very simple puzzles, but they're fun. Whoops! There we go. That was actually a lot easier than I remember. Data restored, completed in 139.1 seconds, or 5.564 microcycles. You replace the disc on the guard's back. Cass. My name is Cass. It's a start. You smile and help Cass to their feet. What do you remember? They squint, considering. Not much. I remember the explosion, energy and light all around me for a microcycle, and then... you. You look out at the gaping void of the vault, and the city lights beyond. Do you remember anything else? Anything at all? Cass steps over to look out over the city with you. Like what? What were you guarding? What was this vault for, Cass? I was gonna say boy, but like I said, Cass is like confirmed to be they, them. Program! I don't remember anything in the room with me when the explosion happened. I'm trying to be helpful, I swear. It all just keeps slipping through my fingers. The explosion fried their memories, only to come back, work through this with them. Your only witness barely remembers anything beyond their name. Do you have any questions for me? 1. What's DOT? You chuckle. You've never been asked that before. Saying DOT tends to make programs less talkative, if anything. Have you ever heard of Tron? The program who fought for the users? Cat seems confused by their own question. A story I remember being told a long time ago. You smile. Yes, well, my order bases itself on his example, without the allegiance part. We believe in finding the truth, without fighting for anyone's side. Truth should exist outside of that. I honestly agree with that. Like, you can't have, like, truth kind of has to be independent. Although I've lost sight of that in the past, I guess? Cass nods solemnly. You walk back towards the door. Cass calls from behind you. You're leaving me alone in here? You turn back to them. Rest. We'll work this out. Cass nods and sits back down on the floor. I've never seen a core honor guard before. You always imagined they'd be taller. I don't even know where that trope originated from at this point, because it's everywhere. Time to move on. Perhaps the prisoner in the library will have more to say. Alright, we're making great progress. We found a witness who knows nothing, we still don't know what was stolen, and we pissed off the administrator and the guard. Woo! I got a good feeling about this case. Library. The library is vast, undulating. Distant platforms hang from the walls. The air is wet. The cold white glow of the space dreamlike. But it is the trees that make the grandest impression. Tall and old and impossibly complex. They curl and swirl in the energy falls before you. You've never seen anything like them before, not at this scale. Again, just the aesthetic. The aesthetic of anything Tron related is beautiful. Your thoughts are interrupted. Beautiful, are they not? A program stands next to you, glowing white like the room around her. That's purple! I swear, this game is trying to gaslight me into thinking I'm colorblind. That is purple circuitry. Oh, never mind. You enjoy my garden? An intriguing detail. She smiles. Unknowable permutations of intriguing detail. Yep, those are words. Means nothing in this context, but they're words, alright. Although, to be fair, the response I selected doesn't, in my mind, make a whole lot of sense either. Other than, like, it's very fascinating, but why not just say that? But I don't know, I'm not an English major. She kneels down, checking the leaves of a tiny plant at her feet. She turns each over in her fingertips, inspecting them in turn. Content, she stands up, smiling again. Ayameda, welcome to my garden. It's beautiful. I'm gonna play along like I know what's going on. Even though none of the responses allow for that. A different smile. Something approaching pride. You have the sense that she'd never admitted as much, though. Thank you, Query. I never gave you my name, did I? This is the greatest library on the grid. It is the centerpiece of the repository, the very purpose of its existence. Before you lies the grand total of knowledge from nearly 2,000 cycles of our society. From the founders to this moment, all of it pristine. I don't know why I turned into GLaDOS with her voice, but you know what, I'm just gonna go with it. Ada walks over to a tree, grand and towering. She reaches out a hand, brushes a leaf, letting its energy fizzle at her touch. A crackle of utter sonic complexity. You've seen these trees before, I imagine. Of course. I think there were actually some data trees outside the repository as well. Do you know what they are? I always assumed they occurred naturally, an outcome of the grid? The description is accurate, but fails to capture their full function. Trees are data, records of our history, not individuals, but an entire society. They are our memory at a cultural level. I understand that you work with identity disks as part of your investigations. Has the similarity between these forms and that of the data you see in your travels ever struck you as interesting? She pulls her hand away from the leaf. Your order, the DOT. You do not interfere. You seek truth, but seek to have no impact on the world you investigate. The echoes of your kind in my garden are quieter than most. You believe her. It is as intended. I have questions. I'm sure you do. Ask them. Take your time, and then I have someone to introduce you to. At multiple points in your investigation, you'll have the opportunity to dig deeper via information choices marked with the magnifying glass. Take your time to ask as many as you like, then move on. If trees occur naturally, why have a garden? She nods, respecting the question. It is one she has been asked before. The data of trees in the wild is rich. They capture all around them, but the noise is also chaotic, unguided, raucous even. In my library, I can cultivate the data, refine it, prune it. I can find the truth and preserve it for future generations. You mean you can rewrite it? You could swear you saw a microcycle of frustration cross the tepid serenity of Ada's face. I can provide lenses, frames. Data cannot lie. But I can help others to read it correctly. You are unconvinced. I know my role. I was expecting shelves, books. A laugh. Ha ha ha. As with Prince's shelves of user entertainments, I don't blame you. So much of our world is contextualized via the users and their arcane and oblique practices. I've been speaking to my guest at length on the topic. It is an irony that they had to cut down their trees and transform them into books. Our method is lossless. How long does it take to learn to read this data? How long does it take to... Oh. How long did it take you to learn to read the data of an identity disk, to guide programs to truths they already knew? So she doesn't answer the question. Shh. See, something about Ada in this section just rubs me the wrong way. Like, in every playthrough I've done of this game, I've gone through quite a few different routes with her that involve different interactions with her. I've never trusted her. I never will trust her. Like, she just dodged the question. Like, it's a straightforward thing of, like, how long does the process usually take? And it's like, how long did it take you to do this thing? And I think they did that intentionally, and if so, good job. You made her Ooh. Which makes me so mad in this section of the game, especially. It takes many cycles to study, but you don't learn much before you find yourself in the field. Precisely. It is the same with my work. As with many things, the library has no value without the one who can use it. Any memory loss? She looks confused. There seems to be some of it going around. Maybe linked to the explosion? No, nothing. Maybe we were insulated from the bulk of it. The trees blocked the storm. Not all of them survived, though. Some of my saplings, the recent and obscure, seem to have been shattered by the force of the explosion. I may be able to rebuild, replant, but I am sure we have lost a great deal.
You don't have, backups?
She shakes her head. That would be illegal. Court demand that all curated data remain here, in the library, accessible to them when desired. To take anything out of the building would be a crime. A pause. I'm sorry for my outburst. It is a blessing you are here tonight. Flynn be thanked.
Let's move on.
As you wish. The librarian motions to the center of the library. A platform juts out into the humid air. Please follow me to the observation deck. As you walk, she explains. Under normal circumstances, this is a space of tranquility. The observation deck provides a place to meditate, to consider the knowledge collected here.
Knock on the sky, listen to the sound.
A student of Flynn. Some truths transcend the speaker. Indeed, you're in the right place. You continue walking. A bright energy field surrounds the end of the platform. Ada notes your reaction. A safety measure. Under normal circumstances, it would be unfortunate to fall from the perch. Very unfortunate, if you know what I mean. Without a secure location. An intact one, at least. Grish asks that we make use of it as a temporary prison. You're now close enough to see that the energy field has an occupant. An exceptionally tall figure, sitting, cross-legged in its center. I will leave you alone with him. I encourage you to be respectful. This is, after all, an ambassador, a guest in my garden. The man in the energy field looks up as you approach. Sad eyes peer out from the strangely pale face, faceted and lit by two bright eyes. It is a timeless face, and one you instinctively know has seen a great deal. Greetings, program.
Nice view.
It is. It is a very pretty prison I find myself in. I should introduce myself. I am Sierra, ambassador for the Automata. I am pleased to make your acquaintance. I'm Query of the OT. I've been asked to investigate events tonight. I've been told you're a criminal, but I will form my own opinion. You have my word. You nod respectfully. Sierra smiles. You find yourself fascinated by the structure and patterning of his face. The way it contorts in a flawed attempt to mimic a very user expression. You try not to stare. He notices. Am I your first automata? Query.
I don't know what I'm doing with these voices anymore, guys. Play it cool. I know I've met strange programs before.
Smile tightens. Still, I must be something of an oddity, no? The automata, who makes himself look like a user to meet with the rest of society. It is a shame your culture is incapable of meeting mine on our own terms. We must disguise our programmatic beauty to move through your polite game of user dress-up. Just gonna go with the continued, just continuing with what I've been doing so far in my views towards the users so far. I have no love for the users. You believe in them, though. That is a limit of your programming. Okay, so I do very much envision automata like this guy to have, more robotic voices. Let's get to the matter at hand, my crimes. You strike a conciliatory pose. It's just you and me, Sierra. I didn't care for Grish's methods either. Sierra nods. The silence hangs in the air for a moment. I don't think you did anything. Sierra relaxes a little. Thank you for saying that. I'm sure you'll have more questions, and I'm happy to answer them. But the presumption of innocence is appreciated. Appreciated and refreshing. Sierra breaks eye contact, looks down. And as far as my decision to say I don't think you did anything, I feel like in these situations it is best to be they're gonna be more willing to talk if you give them the benefit of the doubt. The prisoner stands slowly. He is a giant, almost twice your height. He looms over you. There is great strength there, but also a gentleness to his posture, his movements. I am not your enemy, Query, and I don't believe you are mine either. I will happily answer your questions if you return to me. But I fear I am as ignorant as everybody else here. He points to the door you came from. Keep Grish and Prince away from me. They have made up their minds, and I have no interest in discussing matters with them further. Grish turns his back to you, your conversation over for the time being. Prince needs to hear what happened here. Alright, let's see what these two are. The office is still as grand and impressive as it was the last time you were here. Prince stands at the window. Grish has returned in your absence, standing next to his master. As you approach, Grish turns to sneer. Prince nods and looks away. Welcome back, program. How are things? Straight to business as usual. A shrug. I fear things have continued to slide in your absence. I find myself increasingly forgetful. Some kind of lasting symptom of the explosion, you think? It's complicated. Doesn't seem too complicated. I find it profoundly unsettling. To be myself, but to also have parts missing. I'm a program that prides myself on my memory. My user-given... I forgot myself for a moment. You don't believe in users. Only your own selfish whims, correct? Prince looks out the window. Tonight I'm jealous of the programs out there, who continue their ebb and flow untouched by what has happened here. How many programs function entirely in the dark? How many remain ignorant, so peaceful? Isn't this place built to keep them ignorant? At some point, I feel like Prince is just gonna, like, completely just turn around and just de-rides me. What do you mean? I spoke to the librarian. And you know the objective is not to hide, but to frame information. Prince wobbles slightly, imperceptibly. Grish notices.
Are you alright, Administrator?
He straightens. Of course. Just a little off balance from tonight's events. I find it hard to focus in on the detective's points and questions. I've gotten so much familiar. You can help, program? That's all I've been doing all night. Is that a tone? Prince takes the disc from his back, hands it to Grish, who hands it to you. Defrag. Lock errors are obtuse. They lock cards from being moved or cleared. So yeah, you kind of... So those are like errors that you have to like work around. You cannot do anything with locked cards until your next move. What I like to try to do is I like to try to eliminate some of those. Kind of minimize the damage that they do a bit. And I usually get mixed results from that, though. No, that was a mistake. I can eliminate that one at least. Can... Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh. Ah, crap. I done goofed. I done goofed, guys. So here's where it becomes very important to keep track of which one is going to be blocked. Because it becomes very important that you plan around those. But also you need to make sure you don't do what I just did and completely block yourself off from making any progress. Like an idiot. Oh, hey. Oh, okay. The target was 3. Data restored. See, this is where it starts to get a little harder with those puzzles, and we will be seeing more of them. You hand the disc back to Grish, who replaces it on Prince's back. Prince stretches, rolling his neck, and smiles to himself. Ah, that's better. I think every time I've spoken as Prince now, I've had a completely different accent, and I'm sorry. He turns away from you, his face darkening. So what is your conclusion on this case? Cass in the vault is hiding something. Prinz looks at you quizzically. You think they're holding back? They're out of place. By definition, they're a core guard, a visitor, no? Grish locks eye contact with you. What do you see? Well, I leave it to your discretion. Time is short. And it is important your work is here swift. I am of course comfortable to answer any questions you may have of me. Or Grish here, before you resume your investigation, ask as many as you like. How will Sierra's fellow programs react to his imprisonment? Prinz laughs. Not well, I imagine. As you no doubt gathered from your conversation with him, his kind, the automata, stand directly opposed to the sanctity of our civilization. They blaspheme and they mock, and they bring nothing to back up their outlandish claims. They refuse the existence of the users, but they can provide no evidence of their absence. It is infuriating. Prince shrinks back a little from his tirade. More of his kind every day, making demands to the rest of us. I sincerely hope they are not foolish enough to start a fight over this. You're uncertain of his sincerity. How long before the explosion did Cass arrive with the item for storage? Barely enough time for us to register the arrival in our systems. Whoever did this, they knew ahead of time. They planned this. Sorry, like I mentioned earlier, I didn't get much sleep last night. So I'm a little out of it. It's not good. Points to someone with information about our procedures. Oh, it's far worse than that. It implies the involvement of someone with information about the procedures of Core. Prinz winces. Whoever did this, knows more about the comings and goings of our vault than I do. Why hide away all this information? Yeah, Query. I'm sure he's really gonna respond well to that, from you of all people. Did Ada not give her usual speech about pruning and refining information? Prince smiles. We don't hide anything. We maintain society via a careful control of data. It requires a delicate and respectful touch. There's information that can kill, program. That doesn't sit well with you. No more questions. As you wish. Prince's head tilts slightly to his side, and he raises 2 fingers to his ear. An incoming message. Yes? Where? I see. He looks back to you, a determined flash to his eyes. It would appear we have an issue. Yeah. Prince appears shaken. My exterior guards tell me a known criminal has just landed on the building. Her name is Proxy. Have you ever encountered her before? The name rings a bell. It should. I believe she's wanted for a number of crimes. Some of the worst imaginable. Grish tenses. She's a thief, a pirate. No respect at all for the work done here. Prince goes to his shelves and begins to pack a few items into a small bag. This is no coincidence. She must surely be involved in theft tonight. I am moving to a secure location. Grish, you're coming with me. As you wish. Query. For my security, I'm afraid I can't tell you where I'm going. I will still be in the repository, but I will be unavailable for now. He finishes filling the bag up and seals it. I know your order doesn't engage in ongoing events, that you are forbidden from interfering, but I need you to reconsider that oath in service to myself, our work, and core. I need you to go up there and meet this interloper. I need you to find out her involvement in the vault explosion and prevent her from doing any more damage. When the time is right, I will return. Alright. Thank you. I trust you'll make the right decision if one is to be made. He picks up the bag and heads for the elevator. Grish follows behind, disc in hand. She's on the landing pad, Query. Sorry, I thought Grish was talking. She's on the landing pad, Query. I suspect some of your answers are up there with her. Alright, so we're off to the landing pad then. The landing pad juts out of the side of the repository like a grid bug, clinging unsteadily to a mountain. You're starting to relate to grid bugs. You're no negotiator. You've never interacted with an active crime scene directly. The disciples of Tron investigate. They do not instigate. A yell tears through the rain, breaks your process. Greetings, program! She stands in the center of the platform. Behind her, a stolen recognizer takes off, soaring back into whichever corner of the city it's usually hidden. She walks towards you. Her swagger implies casual charm, but you can sense a readiness to strike. Danger may not be present, but it is certainly pre-cached. I said, greetings, program! A playful anger crosses her eyes. Do you have a name? I don't give my personal identifier to criminals while on a case. You're on a case right now? Ooh, how exciting! A smirk. Petulant, disrespectful, intentionally so. Keep your secrets like a good little disciple of Tron. I'm Proxy. I'm sure you've already been told a great deal about me. Why don't you give me your side of it? I'm a scoundrel, a ne'er-do-well, a good-for-nothing. Well, nothing except liberating the property of bigger scoundrels. She does a little sarcastic bow. I'm pleased to make your acquaintance. I think we're going to be very good friends, Detective. She's toying with you, testing your boundaries. Before you ask me your questions and we get to the negotiating what happens next, I have one pressing question, if I may. I ask the questions here, punk. She ignores you. It's less of a question than an observation, really. It unsettles me. My question is, why is this landing pad not secured? No guards, nothing preventing my landing, unloading. My code whispers trapped me. I should have been surrounded by 6 angry programs with discs in hand the moment I set foot on such sacred ground. The word sacred was stressed, ringed for every available drop of sarcasm. No offense, but you're not as scary as the welcome I anticipated. Something happen here? Are the usual programs occupied? You know what happened. I do, but you look so keen on explaining. Silence. She giggles to herself. An explosion tore apart your vault. And when someone like me sees that happen, to a facility legendary for its security, I think to myself, maybe there's an opportunity there. And then when I arrive and see that the guards have scattered elsewhere, I become certain there's an opportunity. She gestures at you. You're all they've had to send up to me. No doubt tightening security around that zealot prince. How's Grish, by the way? You two know each other? We used to. We fought together in the war. I think we took wildly different lessons from our time together. The first sign of weakness, a little sadness crosses her face. It's gone in an instant, partitioned away under layers of bravado. I'm here because I see an opportunity to take something of my own, while you're busy chasing around that other thief. Surely security's tighter now. And yet here we are, alone. She gestures at the rest of the landing pad. Security is theater. Every lock can be picked, every object stolen. Like currency or love, security is a construct agreed upon. The construct is crumbling, predictably. She's working very hard to appear confident. It's almost working. Confident, but out of boasts. Ask your questions, then. Tell me about the war. She looks down. Nothing to tell. A bad time. A time I'd rather forget. A gift the users didn't grant us. No. Cursed to remember everything that happens to us. Outside of errors and glitches. Can you imagine what it must be like to have the power to curate your memories like a user? Users can't curate memories, though. Like, users can edit programs' memories. I think programs actually can edit other programs' memories to an extent. Although I don't... Okay, so Tron Uprising does play around with that concept a little bit. Where, like, there's a character in Uprising, and this isn't a major spoiler, so don't worry. The person only shows up in, like, a couple of episodes, I think. But there's a character who basically does not necessarily alter the memories of programs, it seems, but can, like, put false data on disks. Seemingly to the knowledge of the program whom the disk belongs to until, like, that data is accessed by somebody else. I don't know, you have to watch the show. It'll make sense if you do. She shakes her head. Tell me what you're gonna steal. Data. There are great secrets kept in this building. One in particular is infinite value. I need it. She smiles, empowered even by the idea of it. How do you know it's here? Everything is here, Query. Ada's garden contains everything our society has ever created, and everything gifted to us by our Creator. When Flynn created this grid, he left behind a code which would empower a program in ways we cannot imagine. Gave them abilities beyond anything any program has ever possessed. I will find that code tonight. It's here somewhere. Fairy tales. Maybe. We'll see. Are you gonna hurt programs tonight? Only those I need to. Those that get in my way. Matter of fact, to the point. No bravado. They'd be doing their jobs. We all have jobs. I'm occasionally forced to do mine. She holds your eyes. No budge. Let's move on. Good. I think I'm done talking. Her tone has shifted. The bravado of earlier has slipped away. She's finished playing. I'm gonna walk past you now. I'm going to walk past you and into the repository. Once there, I will do what I have to do to find what I came for. You need to get out of my way. She reaches to her back, draws her disc. It sparks and shivers with energy. You have no doubt she knows how to use it. I'm afraid I can't do that, Proxy. Think about this query. Think about who you're defending. I never told you my name. You do. She may be right. Prinz and his staff have hardly demonstrated perfection so far. And then it happens. She moves fast, closing the gap between you and holding her disc to your neck. You feel the sizzle of it brush against you. You instinctively draw your own disc, just like you were taught. You hold it millimeters from her neck. A few particles of her hair turn to light and drift off the platform, sliced by your weapon. You're fast, program. She jumps back, adopting a throwing stance. You mirror her. You're not going in there. Then I suppose this conversation is over, Query. She draws her disc, curving her back and shoulder, begins to throw forward. This moment matters. A choice, either way. Throw your disc at Proxy. You flick your wrist. The disc flies at Proxy. It's not a strong throw, but it doesn't need to be. It's perfectly aimed. It's her square in the chest, cutting through instantly. She turns to light in front of you, then shatters, washed away by the wind and rain. Nobody else needs to get hurt tonight. You de-res Proxy. All that remains of Proxy is your disc. You pick it up, make a mental note to pass it to Prinz when you meet him again. Your ethical standards prevent you skimming a program who can no longer consent. A pity. You imagine this disc would be fascinating. Oh, come on. I've been breaking rules left and right. I've been a douchebag to everyone. Let me search this disc. I want to know what's on there. The rain continues to smash the landing pad. You stand alone. You did which no DOT must ever do. You made a decision. It's becoming a dangerous habit tonight. It's so cold out here. Honestly, that's probably every option that I have chosen in like that section of the game has given me chills. Like, it's honestly one of the best scripted interactions in this entire visual novel, guys. Because it can go in so many directions, and you do, like, I wish that I honestly kind of wish that I streamed my first time playing this game, so that you guys could see, like, the first reaction to playing through that. Because the first time I played this, I did end up derezzing Proxy, because the way that I had gone through that interaction, I was worried that it was going to be, like, either her or me. And, like, it's oh my gosh, it's like the perfect scene. And then the way that the narration ends with, like, you've done what no DOT must do. I'm gonna head to the lobby. The lobby is as you left it. A lot has shifted since you were here before. You feel almost nostalgic. Across the room stands Grish. I've been looking for you. Aren't you busy with Prince? Huh. I've taken a break from babysitting the administrator. I wanted to see if you'd made any progress. I'm not expecting much, but I like to be surprised. First, I need you to clean my disk again. Still dropping memories. Prince needs me at the top of my game, and I'm far from it. I can't keep doing this for you. You can, and you will, program. He's not budging. Grish removes his disc, rolls it around in his hands, tilting it to catch the reflection of the energy falls. I don't trust you, program. He stares you down. You're weak, you're weak, you don't know your place, you've been a liability since you walked through that door over there. Taking a risk letting you work with this. But it's because of how important tonight is. Both finding out what happened in the vault and keeping Prince safe. Don't mistake this for trust. You won't. He hands you the disc. Your hand hovers over the surface, ignites it. Defrag. No, undo that. I don't like how easy this is going. That usually means I'm messing it up. 0 there because then I can do this. Ah, that clears some of the mist. He smiles briefly. It's been quiet for now. No sign of Proxy. None of my men have spotted her, and no call-ins. You wouldn't happen to know anything about that, would you? Yeah, she dead. I de-resed her. Huh. Didn't know you had it in you. Prinz will make himself known to you once I tell him about this. Keep an eye out. He'll likely want to thank you personally. I don't know what your game is, but I'm glad to have a quiet night. This doesn't change anything, though. Did she say anything to you about her plans? She's looking for a code that gives you superpowers. He laughs. That'd be useful. Ask her questions, make it quick. Where's Prinz? He shakes his head no. I wouldn't tell you if I had a disc in my throat. That can be arranged! I already de-resed one person today with it. He's safe. That's all you need to know. There are parts of this place only I know about. How are your men holding up? Good. They're securing floors throughout the building. I've told them to keep clear of your investigation. For now. My priority is securing the repository. Proxy came, so will others. How are you doing, personally? Exactly as well as I've been doing in your absence all night. I've been better. No more questions. Need to head back to Prinz. No more questions. You need to get back to Prinz. I do. When I see you next, I want better answers to my questions. He gestures towards the elevator. You take the hint and leave. Hopefully he can keep his side of things together. Gonna check on the vault for now. I don't think it matters too much, like, what order, when each time you visit the vault in the library, I don't know that it really matters the order in which you do that. Then again, I usually do the same path each time. The vault is much as you left it. Outside, the falling debris of the explosion has stopped, and the room has begun to cool from the rain and wind outside. Cass stands by the hole in the vault wall. They look more confident than you remember, more ready. Hello, Query. Careful over there, I need you functioning. They smile. I'd like to stay alive too. It's nice to know you care. They reach out into the void. The rain feels peculiar to me. It shouldn't. It's rain. Most common thing on the grid, right? It comes and goes. So why is it so strange? They withdraw their arm, wipe it dry on their shoes. It's cold out there. Especially so tonight. That's strange to me too, the sensation. They walk over to you. I apologize. Ignore me. Excuse me. Everything feels strange right now. They're clearly still suffering from the damage they took in the explosion. How goes the investigation? There's a lot of power at play. Yes, core, Prince, and now Proxy. You've heard about Proxy? Wait, what the heck? Yes, I did, from Prince. He made Grish bring him here to meet me. Apparently, he had to see me for himself. He seemed scared. Prince, I mean. Grish seemed to be quite excited by the idea of a fight. It's endlessly fascinating to how fast information travels in confined spaces. Ironic to see the same in a place so defined by secrecy. She poses no risk to you. I dealt with the issue. Dealt? Yeah, I freaking killed her! You say nothing. Cass seems frustrated. Sorry, guys. Whatever I was guarding, it's safe to assume I failed in my task. I can't let that happen again. Meaning? Meaning I want to help you. This is not uncommon among victims of crime. They need to contextualize themselves as active participants by assigning themselves blame. Clawback some autonomy. Victims are usually blameless. Sometimes, though... We need to find out who the frick you are. Okay. They nod. They remove their disc and hand it to you. Their hands are shaking. Maybe I should come back later? Who knows where things will be later? This can't wait. They smile bravely. Yes, because that looks like they are smiling bravely. I just want to know the truth of this just as much as you do. Or possibly. The disc holds an answer. This is where it becomes a little harder. Because I see some moves that I can make. Or would be able to make. Sorry, I thought I heard something. Oh. Oh. I can do that. There we go. You hand the disc back, and Cass replaces it on their back. Their eyes flash as they sink. Silence. Everything okay? They look at you. No. You look uncomfortable, frustrated. I don't know what was stolen or who stole it or... Nothing at all? No, no. Tears swell in Cass's eyes. Cass's arc always is so sad, I feel like. I want to be helpful. I really do. I want to be the one who cracks the case and finds out what happened here with you. You know there's something in there. I'm missing it. You know they want out. This is heartbreaking. You couldn't have said it better myself. Cass falls to their knees, shaken. You kneel down to join them. I don't remember anything or anyone. I was alone in the vault. An explosion. Oblivion. Wait, did they? You were in the vault? Yes, of course. That's where you found me. You were here for the explosion? I knew that already. You were alone. Realization dawns on Cass's face. I was alone! New information. Not much, but something to build on. I have to ask, did he set the explosives? Yeah, are you the culprit that we've been looking for? Cass searches what memory they have rebuilt. It's possible, but I can't remember setting an explosive. I feel like I'd remember placing them, pressing a button or something. You believe them. In their current state, it would be hard to tell a convincing lie. It doesn't add up yet. You help Cass back to their feet. We'll get there. I hope so. It's a way away, though. For now, they're right. But you have something to ask the others about now, at least. Do you have any suspects at all? One, Sierra. Something seems off, doesn't it? You'll get to him soon. Cass nods and looks back to the window. I think I'd like to be alone for a little while, if that's okay. I have to try and remember something more. Anything, really. You respect the request, and leave as the vault continues to cool. Alright, so back to the library we go. The library feels like a mirage. Given everything else going on in the rest of the building, it's peaceful, calm. The trees shielded those here from the memory bug. It seems to also shield them from the petty concerns of Proxy and the others. As you enter, Ada ushers you over. She seems less comfortable than before. Greetings again, program. She looks around, checking there's nobody with you. Definitely uncomfortable. What's wrong now? She gestures to the door you entered through. She's coming here, isn't she? The thief. You weigh up whether or not you should tell the librarian what happened on the landing pad. Did she say what she was looking for? Doesn't matter anymore, she's dead. Ah. Ada understands the implication. She's seen all of the Sword's history. She knows how many choices have been made with the disc to a program's throat. Ada seems reassured. I hope I did not give you the impression earlier that I'm naive. I have my dealings with the outside world. I understand the nuance of my code's work. It is ethical complexity. It must be tiring holding so much control. She looks at you quizzically. I am unable to read you, Query. It is unsettling. I need to confess something to you. Okay. I worry that I may have played a role in the theft and now in Proxy's attempt. You're working with someone on the outside? Yes, but not how you think. She breathes deeply, centering herself. Eyes still closed, she continues. While I believe that information must be controlled and structured, I think that it must then be spread. Our administrator, Prince, has been more cautious with this than I'd like. Take Sierra over there. The automata had sent him here to bargain for access to our records. Why could we not simply share? Data pruning is important. Public access must be shaped and refined. But if the public never has access, then what purpose does that serve beyond a petty garden inside a box? Again, I'm still like, I cannot get like a good read on her, like as a character. Because like the data curating thing, the way she describes it sounds a little sus. But at the same time, she's the one who's actually giving out the data. I've been releasing small packets of data. Highly curated, of course, but I've been releasing them. It was intended to inspire, but I worry it was too successful. Rumors of secrets still hidden here have been circulating, building interest. Think someone stole data from the vault? Or do you think that's what brought Proxy here? Do you think they stole some data from the vault? What else? What other valuable could Core have in here? There is nothing more precious, more important than the data we possess. The information in this room, in the repository as a whole, is all we need to serve, to guide our culture. I made our work here prominent in a way it had never been before. I opened the door. You let that hang in the air for a moment. I may have to report this to Prinz. Of course, I presumed as much when I told you. A gift for prediction. It's a perk of my work. Ha ha. She steps out of your way. You should talk to Sierra. He spoke highly of you after your first meeting. Ah, the one person in this that I've left a good impression on. Well, also Cass, I guess, but didn't really have much choice in how I handled them. Good, that'll make this next interrogation easier. Query. Read any good trees lately? Too far away, but I can see some of the titles from here. Riveting. I found our last conversation engaging. Refreshing to experience a little respect. He leans forward. How can I help you with your investigation? I'm happy to answer any questions you might have. Stand in front of Sierra. He sits. I am grateful that you came alone. Ask your questions. Do the automata want anything in particular from Core? To be left alone, mostly. Access to this data would be a beautiful addition, though. This data belongs to all programs, not a select few. A sincere answer. Where were you at the time of the explosion? I was here, with that. That's why my memory was unaffected. I was on a tour. You wonder why this alibi is only coming up now? Why nobody asked? I suspect you know why. Just one moment, guys. I'll be right back. You suspect you know why. Yeah, again, this is another reason why I don't really trust Ada. Like, what we know about Core is that they are repressing information. That's, again, a very fundamental thing about them. And she's, like, very adamant about, like, yeah, the data is to be, like, heavily curated. You can't just have all the information. Which, why the heck not? So you couldn't have done it. No. I think you might be right. Sarcasm. Tell me about Ada. Looks over at her, back to her pruning. She has been kind to me. Well, as kind as the situation allows. We have had a number of conversations about this library. Do you have trees like this in the sprawl? We have trees, but not like this. For us, data grows wild and beautiful. We would never corrupt it through editing or controlling it in the way done here. Exactly. I have no complaints about my treatment by Ada. Do you know anything about remote detonators? No, Automata would never use something as clumsy as that. When we must defend ourselves, we don't lower ourselves to mimicking the user tech of myth. He looks genuinely offended at the suggestion. Good at hiding? It's a tough question, but I feel like I have to ask it, and I don't think I've ever actually asked that one before. Among my kind, maybe, but here... Look at his large frame. It's a valid point. Doesn't seem likely that this is the program you're looking for. What's your opinion of Grish? I don't want to talk about that program. Okay, no more questions. Good. I thought it cursed you. Why didn't Ada already tell me that you had an alibi? Sierra laughs. Ha ha ha. After all you've seen, all you've investigated, you still presume that a puppet of Core's would actually go out of their way to be helpful. He laughs again. Doesn't feel good. Maybe I did it remotely. Maybe I'm pulling the strings. Maybe I masterminded that thief's appearance too. He stands up. The laughter stops. I think I'm done with this now. Program. Ada runs up, hearing Sierra's bellowing laugh at the other end of the library. Is everything all right? Yeah, Sierra's just laughing at me. No, I'm gonna confront her. I'm gonna be like, why didn't you tell me Sierra was here during the explosion? She looks at her feet. It was inconclusive data. You pruned. You held back just enough to stay in control. As is your nature. I'm with Sierra on this. Sierra is staring sternly at you. I am done. Me too. Steps forward, brushes his hand against the force field, making it sizzle. I am innocent. Allow me to leave. Ada looks confused. But Grish commanded. Sierra points at you. He is the assigned disciple of Tron to my case. If he chooses to, he can end my questioning at any time. And if there are no questions, then I will leave. Consider his request. Switch off the force field. Is that a good? Do it. She does. Sierra stands, seemingly surprised by her decision. I'm free to go. Yes, I know my way to the sprawl if I have anything else to ask. He nods. That's all the thanks you'll be getting. He steps past you and slowly makes his way to the elevator. Was that wise? You've not been honest with me. She looks after Sierra as he gets into the elevator. I suppose not. The force field begins to reactivate. Turn and walk away past the trees and waterfalls. Seems more peaceful now, less corrupted. Another decision. I'm gonna check on Cass, I guess? Come back later, query? Okay, so I think I have to go to Prince's office now. I'm gonna look at this stuff in a different run-through. But I think as a character, he As a character, the way I'm playing him right now, he wouldn't be interested. The rain is deafening now, like the users themselves are mocking the hubris this place represents. The landing pad isn't as empty as when you saw it last. Through the rain, you see a silhouette. It is Prinz, with Grish beside him. He yells above the noise and beckons you over. So this is where our interloper made her move? She didn't make much of a move, if you know what I mean. Because she did! Prinz shakes his head. No, I suppose not. I'd have expected more from her, given her impressive reputation. Reputations are written by the one with the most to gain from the boss. Chances are she started most of those stories. And if there's no story, they call programs like me in to find one. Or actually, ever wonder what they say about you, Grish? That's gonna be interesting. Grish laughs. No, I really, truly don't. Let them say whatever they want to say. His tone implies he may have heard some of what they say. Prinz smirks. So do I. From where I'm standing, you acted to protect your investigation and the repository as a whole. I owe you a great debt. You and Prinz the disc you took from Proxy. Ever animosity before this moment, I'm happy to put it behind us in service of whatever comes next. That's interesting. Haven't had that happen before. You did things the wrong way, but I can't argue with the outcome. You've kept my people safe. Prinz reaches out a hand to shake yours. Our operations synchronized. Always have been. Prinz smirks. On this landing pad, you've proved it. Shakes her hand. Grish watches bemused. Where are we on the case, program? Sierra is innocent. I already released him. I don't remember giving you permission. Prinz raises a hand. It's done, Grish. I think our friend here has done enough to prove his loyalty. Grish grunts acknowledgement. Prinz looks up at the storm clouds above. Tonight isn't getting any more hospitable. We should return back inside. Grish nods and they make their way back towards the warmth of the repository. Prinz turns as he approaches the entrance. One more thing, Query. I was just doing my job. Prinz chuckles. No, I think by definition, you are not doing your job. But it's not about that. Before we went to Grish's favorite little hidden space in the repository, I asked him to escort me to visit your witness Cass. I know. Grish snorts. Prinz looks a little unamused to be interrupted. We spoke a little. Pleasantries, really. I like to be welcoming to the Coroner Guard. I am, after all, their host. They were, of course, having the exact memory issues one would expect from someone as close as they were to the explosion. So it was a brief conversation. It was, however, enough time for me to make a little deduction of my own. Go on. I take it upon myself to meet every Corps officer who visits my facility. I know every face. I don't know Cass's face. Grish winces. Should have asked questions. Prinz smirks. Don't beat yourself up, old boy. A single-minded focus on your work is admirable. A few details are bound to be missed along the way. Now I must go back inside before this rain gets any worse. We go back in, leaving you out on the landing pad. The scene of your own crime. You have a lead, that's something. Alright, it's getting late, so I think I'm close to the end. So I think I'm gonna hurry through, like, the end of this run. Return to the vault, a little shaken by recent events. It's as cold in here as the landing pad, but at least it's drier. Cass is waiting and walks up to you as you enter. Are you okay, Query? Strange to be the one in need of comfort, but Cass has obviously noticed something in your demeanor. Let's talk about you. A small smile. That's what we've been doing since I've met, but I'm happy to continue if that's what you need. You nod. I don't think you're who you say you are. Just flat out, you're lying to me, kiddo. Did I say who I was? I didn't mean to mislead you. I'm sorry if I have. I don't know who I am. I was hoping we can find out together. Cass looks at you quizzically. There's something you're not saying. Do you know something new? I'd like to hear it if you do. I've heard your new face around here. They ponder it. I thought Prince seemed strange when meeting me. A stranger, I suppose. I don't have a frame of reference, but if you say so, I believe you. You glance down at the uniform. Resplendent. Then take their identity disc from their back. Want to help me get to the bottom of this? Hesitate. Are you lying to me? If I am, I'm lying to myself too. Help me figure it out. Thank you, friend. Maybe this will be the last time. Figure out that I'm a janitor and we can all go home. I don't think you're a janitor. Sorry. Because I'm kind of pressed for time right now, I'm just gonna skip the rest of these puzzles. Cass falls to the ground in front of you. Oh no, oh no! You kneel down in front of them. It's okay. No, it's not. It's really not. Cass is confused, their eyes darting around. They stand back up, a little unsteady. What did you see? In the cloud. Did you see what I saw? A friend? Not a friend, not to begin with. Oh, that figure. That figure was the guard assigned to my cell. Abby, you're confused. I was a prisoner, Query. Somewhere cold and dark, not this place, somewhere else. I was locked in a box for as long as I've been alive. I've been locked in a box. Did you steal something tonight? Stop fixating on that. We're beyond that. I've been a prisoner for so long. The guard in my memory, he gave me this uniform. Took pity on me. He may have saved your life. They nod. Yes. It is fascinating to me that out of all my memories, the key was a good program who did me a kindness. Well, one kindness among many cruelties. He kept me locked up. Probably helped with my transfer here. Why were you transferred? I think I'm on my way somewhere else. Cora was moving me because of what had happened at the prison. A look of terrifying realization crosses Cass's face. I'm the explosive. This was me. It was me, Barry. I was the explosive the whole time. I was moved here on my way to a more secure location because it's happened before. I'm the danger. Why was Prinz not told that a living bomb was coming up? I think I might be a terrible secret. Cass is overwhelmed, scared. It's all flooding back. I need time to process it. But I'm not sure the crime you were brought here to investigate happened. I think I might be in a lot of trouble. They inhale slowly. If you have questions, I can answer them. But then I think I need some space for a couple millicycles. I wonder what happens if I don't go down any of these. Like, I don't give them any promises and I just ask them the questions. Because usually I go through all the available dialogue. So I'm going to leave some unfinished. I want to see, like, how that affects things. Thank you, Query. That's not the only gap here. There are more threats that you know you'll need to pull on before the night is over. This doesn't add up yet. Friends! We got a situation. Dang it, Prince, this is important. This is important. There is a living, just explosive, exploding program in your vault. That should probably take precedence over whatever you're dealing with. There's a coldness to the library. You've had quite the evening. Maybe I'll get a tree. Maybe so, or at the very least, a shrub in the corner. You both smile, a little exhausted. It's been a long night. How are your trees? I don't care about you. You're really sus. Unharmed, it would seem. Lucky. As curated as this garden is, the data within it is priceless. You're glad it was unharmed. If we hadn't imprisoned an innocent program here, I would say this garden had remained a port of peace and comfort in a turbulent moment. Sierra did nothing wrong. You were right to do something. And you were wrong to just not. You withheld information. I'm pretty sure that could be considered obstruction of justice, possibly. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. But if somebody asks you a question like that, if an investigator asks you a question and you actively withhold the information, that is incredibly sus. Gas caused the explosion. This was all down to them. Wasn't intentional, I don't think. Maybe not, but they did a lot of damage. Maybe there's a cure, some way to prevent it from happening again. Something needs to be done. Earlier, I described this place as a garden, a curated space for information, and to an extent that's true. Core allows me my garden because they know this data has value. More so if they keep it locked away. But that is their motivation, not mine. I don't think anything is achieved by locking away things the powerful find intimidating. I think maybe you agree with that sentiment. I still don't know whether or not I can trust her. And I've literally played through this multiple times. No, not sentiment. Action. You freed Sierra. You did what needed to be done, regardless of the consequences. I did too. Wise and brave to come to this place. I doubt he was surprised to be turned on like that. Either way, you made the right choice. I want to follow your example. Feels like the night for making the difficult but right decision. I want to help you with Cass. It feels like you're close to closure. I want to be there for them. My trees will be safe without me. It's not safe. I wasn't asking for permission. I'll go up to the vault, check on them. I imagine I'll see you there again soon. She rushes past you, moving to the exit. You stand alone in the library, the entirety of history before you. You could spend cycles here and barely scratch the surface. Another time. This is a really interesting route I've thrown myself on. Cass stands next to Ada by the vault. They are discussing the city below as you approach. Hello, Query. How are you feeling, Cass? I'm just gonna ignore Ada. Good. Surprisingly good, actually. There's still mystery to be solved, but I have my footing now. I know who I am, at least. We can work out the rest. I want so much to be down there. Be among the programs, drink some energy, ride a light cycle, maybe take in the games. I don't think I've ever had that freedom. If I did, it was long ago. Before I got locked in a tower. Maybe you were dangerous. You think? I'm eager for answers now. I'll do whatever it takes. Maybe the memory of why you're here, or the cause of the explosion, is still hidden on your disk. Cass takes a deep breath. Could be, for sure. But this seems like a risky stone to turn. It might not be safe. I don't want you to get hurt. I want to start helping. It's not safe, Ada. Do it. Do it. Again, I'm just because I know I'm kind of running low on time. I'm going to skip this. You both stagger a little at what you just saw. Oh no. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no! You give the disc back to Cass, feel the tension flow through you. It is confused. What happened? I saw it. I always see it. Oh, users. You know what you both saw. Everything falling apart. The grid itself disintegrating, de-rezzing into a million fractured pieces. A terrible future. What did you see? What did you do, Cass? Cass stumbles back from you. They're holding their head in their hands, tears in their eyes, their voice quivering. The end of everything. Collapse. Was this a different grid? This one. Explosion, a reaction, a realization. The grid is ending. It can't be stopped. Each time I realize that, you can't possibly know it's coming. Who told you this? Nobody. They locked me up because I'm the only one who sees it. How? I see the end of things in the data. Complex, cause and effect. Every raindrop, every blinking light in the city. Truth encoded. The grid is ending. Yes, the end of the world. Cass begins to shake, continuing to hold their head in their hands. The realization is tearing them apart. No time. Ask me your questions. Last chance. Now I know. How am I not exploding? Because we're not smart enough. You didn't see for yourself. Secondhand. You trust, but you can't see. You think you can save us. Your hope blocks your destruction. Why would the grid have a limited duration? Temporary home. Flim's backup. Ada nods. Yeah, this is what I was saying earlier. Like, this is literally supposed to be, like, a backup system that Flynn created specifically for the ISOs. Because, as we know from Legacy, and from all the other stuff, Clue did not like the ISOs, because they were, like, they didn't, like, come from anywhere. They weren't, like, an intended part of the grid. They just kind of showed up. Like, literally the way Flynn describes it is like the conditions were right and they just manifested. Like, literally just life sprung out of the grid in the form of the ISOs. So they weren't even like... They're literally programs that weren't even created by a user. They just created themselves, basically. Ada nods. We're never meant to be here this long. We never came back. So yeah, I think this does confirm, like, he created this shortly before Clue's, like, takeover, and, like, before Flynn got trapped. And so he figured, like, yeah, to have time, I can, like, leave this system running for a little bit while I try to defuse the situation. And then he got trapped in his own system. And, well, I'm sure if you guys are watching this, I'm sure you've seen the movies. How did it happen so fast this time? More input. You, the city. So much data, faster realization. How long do we have? I don't know. Maybe 300 cycles? Not enough time to fix it. You can't possibly know that. Cass looks defeated. We have to tell everyone. The end is nigh. Cass smiles through the pain. I'm telling you. This must be managed. This is dangerous information. Stop being a freaking curator for 5 minutes. Cass winces. Everyone has a right to know. I can wipe your memory if you want. Small smile. That's okay. Explosion will do that anyway. There has to be a way for us to help you. There isn't, but thank you. I have nothing more to ask. Cass takes a deep breath. It's a flutter to their light. They're destabilizing. They walk out to the edge of the vault. Reset coming. Help me figure this out after. Stay back! Ada lunges toward Cass at a sprint. Just let me help you. I can manage this information. Curate. A blast rings through the vault. Hot light knocks you from your feet. Time itself seems to stop for a moment. You taste iron and electricity as your face smashes into the hard floor of the vault. And then silence. You stand up, dust yourself off. The sizzle of broken light echoes through the cavernous vault. There's no sign of Ada. De-rezzed by the blast. There's nothing you could have done. In there, on the edge of that blasted vault hole, lies the fragile figure of Cass. You place your finger on their neck. Feel the reassuring pulse of energy flow. They're unconscious, but they function. They're consumed by a need to tell someone what happened. To make it real. To communicate. Prinz needs to hear about this. Once again, Prinz. So drop everything. Prinz's trinkets have lost some of their luster to you. The line doesn't really make sense given that I didn't look at any of the things. Do you know what Cass knows? Prinz turns to you. We're going to have to do a little to eliminate me. He looks baffled. Tell him about Cass's tridentity. How they've been shepherded around. You tell him about their prophecy. The end of the line. Blasphemy! How is that blasphemy? He will return to us. He made this world for us, and he will return. Prinz closes the gap between you quickly. Oh, I have never seen an interaction like this before. Surprised you showed credence to anyone beyond yourself. We cannot let doubt in. We cannot break free. We cannot break from his patterns. He will return, and he will help us bring about a new age. It's been well over 1,000 cycles, Prince. No! Our time moves faster than his. His preparations may take time. They may seem cruel in their duration, but he serves us. He slams a fist into his altar. Prince is shaking, anger at you, or maybe even at Flynn himself. He will come back to us. Maybe the end is part of Flynn's design too. Perhaps. His body relaxes a little. The outburst seems to have relieved some tension for him. Sorry, Query. It is hard to hear some of what you say. Terrifying. There has to be a solution here. Prince frowns. Does there? I admire your instinct to play savior. I really do. I suppose it tracks with your decision to extricate the automata spy earlier. He wasn't a spy. We'll see. Things could have gone very differently tonight, Query. I'm grateful to you for most of your decisions. I know your vows. I know it can't have been easy for you to intervene. I didn't do it for you. Your intent is, and has always been, irrelevant. I fear we are rapidly approaching goodbye. I need your help, Prince. He chuckles. With what now? Take a deep breath. I'm gonna tell the grid what's coming. Maybe you've not learned as much tonight as I thought. I'm not so sure that the grid can handle the full extent of Cass's vision. I think it will be dangerous. Doesn't matter what I think, really. If Ada was here, she'd encourage you to curate the message. Frame it in a way that was easily digested. She'd urge caution and patience. Prince gestures at the door. Grish left just before you arrived. Checking on programs, securing the building. Doing what needs to be done now. Or doing what needs to be done now your new friend is exploring on a more regular basis. He's scared, putting on a brave yet angry face. But scared. I am too. We all are. This place represents order, Query. It's the manifestation of an ideal at the heart of core. Every item in its place, every program filling their role. Chaos represents something different. They represent chaos, the lightning in the storm. This is what scares us so. You made an enemy of Grish because you failed to respect our need to protect order. Nothing you've done since has inspired a change in his opinion. I think he was rather fond of your decision to de-res the pirate, at least. Prince pauses for what feels like an eternity. No interest in presenting a barrier to what needs to happen next. You defy core? Prince places a hand at his chest in full shock. Never! I would never do anything to betray the wishes of my superiors, even if doing so would clear up a number of immediate dangers to my building and my colleagues. Perish the thought! I would encourage you to consider your options before making your final choices tonight. But yes, I will stay out of your way. I can't promise that Grish will do the same. In fact, I'm certain he will put himself very much in your way. Take one last look around. Knickknacks and pointless detritus of the users of Flynn. The world outside doesn't even know this place exists. This pomp is a call without response. Love unrequited. There's a tragedy to his prince and his zealotry. You hope for his sake that he finds another path one day. You leave, knowing that there's only one place you need to be. Again, in a future stream, I will play more of this game and kind of go over some of the stuff, like looking at the items on Prince's shelves, because you can look at all of those items. But A, I don't have time, and B, like I said, with the way I was playing the character, it really didn't make much sense for him to care about that stuff. For a moment, the sky is clear above the landing pad. You see Cass sat at its edge, feet hanging over. They turn to you as you approach. Hello. Smile. Are you okay? They pat themselves down. Yeah, I think so. No confusion across their face. Do we know each other? We spent a lot of time together tonight. You're Query, right? You're a detective? Smile and nod. They smile. Are you here to help me? I hope so. You've been down there? It's so beautiful, so intricate. The light of thousands, hundreds of thousands of programs mingling, glowing together. I wish I remembered what it was like to be there. You realize there's every chance they've never actually set foot on the ground. I need you to help me remember. You can rebuild identity disks, right? You nod. Again, I'm kind of in a hurry. This keeps happening with these streams where, like, always towards the ending, it was the same thing when I was finishing up Metal Gear Rising. Like, I ended up actually ending the stream really late. A lot later than I should have because of how long, like, the Armstrong fight took. Cass puts their head in their hands as the memories wash over them. They begin crying. Remain distant. Remain distant again, given the way that I said I was going to play this character through this run. You look at their disc. You've never worked with them like it. Impossible complexities, unimaginable data density. You just dropped a lot of knowledge on Cass all at once. You might be out of your depth. Oh, really? You mean like a detective who is supposed to be investigating, like, a friggin' theft isn't prepared to deal with end-of-the-world scenarios? Are you going to explode again? Cass laughs, muffled somewhat by their own tears. No, I think we're good for a few millicycles. Cass looks up. I don't think I've ever been outside without rain before. They seem startled by it. They kept you locked up for a long time, didn't they? Cass looks at their hands. Too long. They wipe their face with a sleeve. Sniff. I'm worried there aren't many cycles left. Maybe you're wrong. Maybe. That'd honestly be the best scenario, right? That is an interesting part of this. Like, it's entirely possible that Cass is wrong. You need backups, Query. You need to copy my observations, my knowledge of what's coming. I'm an unreliable vessel for it. Then wouldn't I explode? Cass laughs. No, because you still think it's a solvable problem. The overload only happens to those with too much foresight to experience hope. It's a massive flaw in my code. I'm smart enough to realize. That's my curse. My IQ is too high. It's a pretty arrogant position to take. They pondered it. We'll see, I suppose. Like, again, it's possible that they are wrong. And that they're just overloading themselves. Like, they could be overloading themselves, just like freaking out about it. Heck, they could have a freaking bug in their code. I mean, viruses are a thing in the Tron universe, so maybe, although, if so, this is, like, the only one we've seen that doesn't spread. Copy it. Well, here goes nothing. Again, I have to skip. I legit did not think that a single run through of this game was going to take so long. As you hand back Cass's disc to them, your eyes pulse. So much new data. Much of it is indecipherable, but another program will understand it if it comes to that. Who? It's established that Cass has a higher capacity on their disc. How does that feel? Fine. Just show no weakness. Yeah, this is Tuesday for me. A playful smirk. Liar. Now it's their turn to reassure. You don't need to read the data. Let it sit within you until someone else needs it. We'll both be there to pass it on. Oh, no. Grish, come on. Stop!
Hands where I can see them!
Cass raises their hands.
It's okay.
It isn't. What's wrong, Grish? I think is wrong. Grish draws his disc. I saw what was left of it in the vault. It's over. I've tolerated you for long enough, Query. Cass comes with me. We're going to the vault. You'll be safe. More importantly, the rest of us will too. Alright. I'm going to sell Cass out. Cass looks at you, shocked. Grish looks suspicious. Really? But you have to listen first. Grish laughs. And why would I do that? Deep breath. I have to. You're a fool. I'm not the one who believes this one can see the end of the grid. I don't believe in premonitions. I'm surprised a detective would either. Maybe you always hated Core. Maybe this lie plays into that. I'm done talking. Grish readies his disc, aiming at Cass. Come with me or it ends here. Cass reaches for their bag, fumbling, not used to a quick draw. Grish laughs.
As you wish, program.
He throws his disc at them. It's coldly precise. They didn't stand a chance. As Cass disintegrates, they turn to look at you. A small smile. And then nothing. It's over, Grish yells at you.
Leave now!
Little does Grish know I have the data. I copied the data. He goes back into the building. An innocent program's function comes to an end. So much lost. It's your fault. It's done. Again, when the game has to tell you how much of a jerk you are, you know you're a jerk. You step outside. The city below is exactly how you left it. Utterly ignorant of the events that you've witnessed and impacted tonight. But not for long. You stop, standing in place, the enormity of what has happened firing through you. Out here, alone in the rain, you have a moment to collect your thoughts. Review what happened here. Unfortunately, I don't have time to go over all of that. Cass's revelation is incendiary, necessary. And now it exists only on this one fragile object, belonging to one fragile program. Core will de-res you for it if they can. Replace the disc on your back, head forward. It may be the end of line, but it is not the end of your program or the grid. Not yet. If you've learned one thing tonight, it's that great truths cannot be contained in small boxes. Dependencies and compound errors will always make themselves known. The revelation, this prophecy, won't be contained either. A loop cannot be broken without a change in conditions. You'll find a way. Recompiling. Okay. I wish I had time to give all my thoughts on this game, but I am all out of time. I should have ended this stream like 20 minutes ago. So I have to head out, but if you liked this stream, please like, comment, subscribe. I'm gonna play more of this in the future. And I have some other content coming out soon. I hope all of you have a great rest of your night. See you guys.